holy shit of our 2028 frontrunner. They just don't know it yet, and I'm guessing neither do you. But you don't need to be a genius to take a look at this clip I'm about to show you and recognize that this candidate has absolutely everything.
We've amassed enough firepower to end the world 1,000 times over, but we can't summon the will to guarantee health care and pre-K. It's the crushing weakness of our politics against the unmet needs of our people and the massive stakes of our times that's shaking our faith in the future. Our power's right there, just waiting for us to pick it up and use it. And a wave is building. The kind of wave that comes once a generation when the people have been pushed too far. And they decide all together, all at once, to say what? Enough is enough.
First off, he looks like a goddamn superhero whose alter ego is to be the president. Has he been hitting the gym?
Okay, I get it. I get the excitement. This is not going to be me dogging on other creators, but could y'all please stop talking about how Jon Ossoff needs to run for president in 2028, or he's going to run for president. He's going to be the next president of the United States. Could y'all please stop it? Okay, I like Rich. I really do. This is not a criticism of him at all. He's a little hope core for me, right? A little Pollyanna for me. But I also think he's really good at inspiring and encouraging people. And his video by itself would not have been enough to prompt me to make this video. But I got asked this same question yesterday on live. What did I think about Jon Ossoff? Did I think that he was going to be the next president? Did I think that he was a viable candidate for 2028? And you know, guys, like we got to get through the midterms. We got to get through the midterms. And I'm not the only one saying that. Jon Ossoff is also saying that. In fact, he's been asked basically nonstop in every interview if he is going to run for president in 2028. And he has said hard no, he's not going to run.
Are you contemplating, is it fair to say that you're thinking about a 2028 run for president?
No, I have zero interest in running for president in 2028. In these hearings, as I conduct oversight, I am trying to faithfully execute my solemn obligations under the Constitution as a United States Senator to conduct vigorous oversight of the most out-of-control presidential administration in American history.
How do you feel about a Kelly Ossoff ticket in 2028?
Jen, let me reiterate. I have zero interest in running for president in 2028, and frankly, zero interest in the 2028 fantasy football right now.
Yes, agreed.
And I would note that Senator Kelly is going to be here in Georgia tomorrow campaigning alongside me because he also recognizes that these midterms are the whole ball game. So with all due respect, and I appreciate and respect and understand why there's interest in punditry in a presidential election several years away, I don't know that we have a free and fair election in 2028 unless we restore checks and balances in these 2026 midterm elections. This needs to be all of our highest priority and our focus. Get involved. Pitch in money, sign up to knock doors, sign up to make phone calls. If you're feeling angst and outrage at what's happening to our country, take action. Because here in Georgia, early voting opens in 8 weeks. Before we know it, we're going to be looking at the results coming in on election night. Let's leave it all on the field, have no regrets, and win a decisive victory this fall.
Yep, exactly. Of course, you might say like, well, him saying that is proof positive that he would be a good presidential candidate for 2028. And I'm not in any way saying that he's not a viable candidate, right? There's lots of things I like about Ossoff, but we have to focus on the midterms, you guys. My Senator Jeff Merkley has said so many times, if we don't win in the midterms, that Republicans will do everything to completely dismantle free and fair elections, and it will be much harder for us to get out of this mess. Eyes on the prize, you guys, right? We have to get through the midterms to get to a place where we can have legitimate elections in 2028. And I think it's not only pointless, it's not only a distraction to get all like wound up about who might run for president in 2028. This is why I was so hard on that stupid Atlantic article that put forward all of the establishment Democrats, right, like Josh Shapiro and Gavin Newsom, as who they think are the darlings that are going to be potentially on the ticket in 2028. Like, it's just not a useful exercise. And also, Ossoff is trying to get reelected in Georgia, right? If his constituents think that he's going to bail on them in less than 2 years to run a presidential campaign, they're going to be less likely to vote for him come November. So we're not doing him or his campaign or democracy any favors by getting all whipped up about him potentially running for president in 2028. Now, do I think that he's being 100% truthful here? Oh gosh, sorry, I'm kicking my camera stand. Do I think he's being 100% truthful here? I don't know. I think he has to say that he's not running for president. He has to give all of his focus to this re-election campaign in Georgia right now. But I am inclined to believe him that he thinks he can probably do more good in the Senate. Somebody asked me on live whether or not I think he would be a good replacement for Chuck Schumer as the Senate majority leader when Democrats retake the Senate in November, as they are more like increasingly likely to do. My Senator Jeff Merkley just sent out an email this morning that was like, wait a minute, you guys, the Iowa Senate seat is actually in play now. We're seeing more and more tipping, like, come on, folks in Iowa, come on, you guys can do it. When I lived in Iowa, it was a swing state. So when we have a massive voter turnout in November, right, too big to rig, and Democrats reclaim the Senate, we can't have Chuck Schumer as Senate Majority Leader. Now, some of us have been actively campaigning for our senators to remove Chuck Schumer from leadership since March of 2025. And Indivisible called for Chuck Schumer to be removed from leadership early in 2025 as well. So could Jon Ossoff replace him? I think he's a viable. He's young, I don't know how other Senate Democrats feel, but the leadership in the Senate is elected by members of the party who serve in the Senate. So if we want different Senate leadership, then we have to pressure our Democratic senators to vote for somebody besides Chuck Schumer. When Jon Ossoff gets reelected, if we think he would be a good pick, then it's up to us to pressure our senators, and they will choose then Jon Ossoff or whoever else. So I don't in any way disagree that Ossoff is making the right moves, right? He is taking a strong and vigorous stance. I've been talking him up for a while now because he has really been pushing an anti-corruption platform. And I think that Democrats need that if they're going to win in the midterms and if they're going to win in 2028. Like, the Republican Party is so the most corrupt party we've had in American history. We have the most corrupt president we've ever had, and it's just like straight graft, right? That's basically what Republicans are doing in Congress and in the executive. And so if we want to win, then we need an anti-corruption party. Working class conservative Americans voted for Donald Trump because he told them he was going to drain the swamp. He was going to unseat the Clinton era Democratic elites, right? That message of anti-corruption is very, very compelling. He lied to them when he said that DOJ was going to root out waste, fraud, and abuse, but actually rooting out and ending waste, fraud, and abuse is really popular. First of all, it's the ethical and right thing to do. It's the efficient thing to do. But also it's really, really popular with American voters from both parties. And Ossoff has understood that very early on in this game and has been speaking about investigations and making sure that the Democrats have an anti-corruption platform with investigations and prosecutions and policy change, right? All of that package. He's making the right moves. He's lashing out against Trump in a really savvy way that is catching media headlines and that people find compelling. He's motivating people to get to the polls. He's making folks like Rich excited about politics, and I think that that's a really good thing. Ossoff was the first Jewish man elected to the Senate from Georgia. He doesn't take AIPAC money. He says a lot of the right things. He has a lot of the right policy positions, and I think he has a really bright future in the Democratic Party.
If I were a firefighter, I would set my house on fire just so he could carry me out. And I'm not attracted to men.
But can I just for 1 second push back in one other way? No hate to Rich, and also to the people in his comments, right? No hate to y'all, but could we please stop doing this thing where we think that a man is electable because he is attractive? I don't give a shit if Jon Ossoff is handsome. I don't care if he's been hitting the gym. Canadians and also American liberals fell for Justin Trudeau because they thought that he was handsome. People were wanting to get behind Gavin Newsom because he's handsome and he has a thick head of hair. That doesn't provide any indicator of somebody's ethics and their moral courage and their policies and their platform. If we could stop doing that, that would be awesome. Somebody's ability to govern in an ethical and effective way has nothing to do with their physical appearance. And it just makes me very, very uncomfortable for people to be saying like Ossoff is a good candidate because he's hot or whatever they're saying. Let's look at his policies and his skills, right? And in fact, let's focus just on the midterms. We can talk about 2028 later on. We're putting the cart before the horse, y'all. We need massive voter turnout, and we need to be prepared to organize to defend the results of the midterms. That has to come first. We can talk about Ossoff for 2028 after. Eyes on the prize, y'all. Midterms first.